Thank you very much, Ibrahim and Oluwadara. Really appreciate the opportunity you've given me to come back to speak again. So I will be speaking today about global talent, how to compete on the global stage, how to upscale to that level, and how to position yourself to be seen. I'll switch on my camera. I'll switch on my camera just so at least you'll be able to see who we are speaking with. All right, so here I am. To start with first, when people say global talent, upskilling and positioning, I think I would like to just rephrase that in a way that is very simple to understand. It just means that what you want to be able to do in today's world is to be able to be as useful to people you want to be as useful to as many people in as many ways, in as many places as possible. That's what it means to be a global talent that is already upskilled and is positioned correctly. But today's talk will be very brief and it will be very quick, but it will be very value-filled. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a few things about how to position yourself as someone that global companies will want to work with. Whether you are a data analyst, whether you're a UI UX engineer, whether you're a developer, whether you're a blockchain engineer, you are no longer just competing with somebody from Isolo or from Ibadan or from Yenagua. You're competing with people from Bangladesh, you're competing with people from the Philippines, you're competing with people from Sri Lanka, all right? And for you to be able to do that, you're going to need extra skills that put you in the right position. But before I get into that, let's continue. So first of all, who am I? I could tell you about the fact that I'm the fourth of 5 children. I studied architecture. I like action movies, but that is not relevant to this conversation. Here's where I will begin. This is my car in 2020. I had just had an accident that a car hit me so hard that when the airbags deployed, it hit my face with such force that there was a crack in my skull and my sinuses were draining through my ears. I was on my way to go and see a client. This was a different life. I was a carpenter. I owned a moderately successful furniture store. And I was on the way to see a client when this happened. Everybody has the moment where they think that Nigeria is trying to kill them. This wasn't the moment. The moment that I thought Nigeria was trying to kill me was when I had 2 more accidents after this in the same year. And at that point, I now realized that what I was doing was not sustainable because it was keeping me too long on the road. And the chances of these kind of things happening to me were now a lot higher. And that was when I now decided to switch lanes. So I started learning a few things, learning different skills that would make me valuable in the knowledge space, in the knowledge workspace. And at the time, I decided that I was going to leave the country. While we were trying to do that, we started talking to people who had left the country for a few years, and we were getting a bit of feedback. Now, this is not for everybody, but we're also hearing things like, the competition there was getting stronger and stronger. People were dealing with, it wasn't as rosy as they had painted. And like I said, it's not for everybody. There are people who are doing quite well for themselves. But for me, I had people who I was speaking to who were doing very well, but they were also giving me hard data on the ground. And at the time, what happened was the last election happened, and a lot of people were saying they wanted to leave the country. And for me, what I now saw was an opportunity for us to be able to build the infrastructure that would allow Nigerians to be able to participate in this global economy without having to leave the country. So, who am I? My name is Bankole Ojo-Medubi. I'm the managing partner for Parasol BPO. And what we do is that we connect Western businesses with African talent. Now, why do these businesses choose to work with us in Parasol? They choose to work with us because we offer what we call oases of redundancy. That is, work facilities within Nigeria that have fail-proof infrastructure, that is fail-proof internet, fail-proof power, fail-proof security. We've delivered over 300,000 work hours to businesses all the way from Chicago to Calgary to Paris. So, another thing to note is that only 2.4% of Nigerians earn over 200,000 naira per month. That is less than $150 a month. Every worker that works through Parasol with global companies is in that top 2.4%. So if you are able to tap into the global economy, that automatically means that you are in the minority of Nigerians that are earning, that are in the highest percentile of earners. All right. Now, all good and fine. I'm going to talk about how for you to position and upskill and how to become the best at what you do, or at least competitive. How do I know what you need to know to be able to do that? One, we are involved in job description design. That is, we help these employers, the Western employers, build their job descriptions. So, for example, just 2 weeks ago, I was talking to a startup founder in New Jersey who wanted to hire a UI UX designer and a software developer. He didn't know that's what he wanted. He knew what he wanted. He wanted a site that could do certain things, a website that could do certain things. And I sat down with him and we figured out, okay, this is the kind of person that you need. You need a UI UX designer. You need a website developer that will work on this. So we know the employers are telling us what they want. So we know what they want because we talk to them. Two, we sit in on the interviews. For that same startup founder, I ended up sitting in on the interview when he was interviewing the UI UX designer. And I was able to see what worked and what did not. Thirdly, we get feedback from the employers. That is, they let us know what they think about the candidates that they have interviewed. So, for example, one of the things that I've heard the most from Western employers is that they like people who are confident and dynamic. And I'll give you an example of that. One, there was this young lady who I personally interviewed before she went to interview with the American employer. And I thought that she was competently sound and very good at what she did. However, the employer did not pick her. And when we asked him why, he said she seemed too low energy. He wasn't sure that she really wanted the job. He didn't pick her, but he didn't just keep quiet. At least he told us why. And it's something that has come up consistently with a lot of employers that we've spoken to. They want confident and dynamic candidates who look like they're interested in the job and are able to communicate their value in a very powerful way. Fourthly, we have data from our current job placements. We speak to the people who are working with us at the moment to see what they are doing well and what they aren't. And finally, we have exit interview data from people who leave. Anyone who leaves us, we sit down, speak with them, and have an exit interview, finding out what they think they did well and what they think they did wrong. All these things combine to inform us at Parasol what is working in the global market. Now, what is IQ and EQ? IQ and EQ, IQ is basically intelligence quotient. EQ is emotional quotient. And they are the measure of one's intelligence, the ability to recall, to remember, to put together different variables together to make sense of information, and emotional intelligence, where you are able to act right within a proper context because you are dealing with human beings. These two things are things that are measured and are used to understand how the potential within each and every human being. But what if there was another measurement? A measurement of what makes you globally employable. To what extent are you globally employable? To what extent can you provide value to a business and they would hire you? And we decided to call that BVQ, business value quotient, your current ability to generate business value. Now, we hear these things a lot about, oh, you should be someone that provides value. You should be someone that, oh, you know, anywhere you go, you are able to bring a lot to the table. But a very good question you should ask is, what does business value mean? Now, for us at Parasol and what we've seen, business value fall into 6 categories, right? 1 is revenue contribution, 2 is brand contribution, 3 is cost efficiency, 4 is process efficiency, 5 is growth contribution, and 6 is vibes and culture. I will speak about them briefly. Revenue contribution, how much does your presence in any business bring to the table? How much? Are you able to contribute to the bottom line of the company? Number 2, brand contribution. Or do you make the company a better brand? For example, we have Ibrahim Isa here and Oluwadara, they are here. What they've done with this with the Masterclass series, it has contributed to the NSE and NIICTE and their brand and the way people are seeing them. So they have contributed to the brand. They have contributed to the reputation of the organization. How well do you contribute to the reputation? And not that, oh, you're there and nobody sees you. Are you contributing to the reputation of your organization? Number 3, cost efficiency. Does your presence save the organization money? Simply put. Number 4, process efficiency. Does your presence make certain processes quicker, faster, and more efficient? Number 5, growth contribution. Does your presence allow for the company to be able to do certain things, grow in certain places? For example, I know people who are Nigerians who work in Canadian companies, and they were told to come to Nigeria and see whether they could grow a new market for these companies. All right. And then finally, vibes and culture. For vibes and culture, I'll just tell you a quick story that captures how important this is. Because I said vibes and culture, people might think that that's not really a serious thing. It is. One of our longest lasting staff at Parasol was kept for as long as she was, not because she was hitting her KPIs, but because everybody within the organization liked her. One of the longest serving because everybody liked her. Vibes and culture. Are you someone that people like to work with? I'll give you guys a quick story too, another story. there was someone who, a Nigerian who was working with a US company in the US. And then one of the people who he was working with happened to lose his dog. And because he lost his dog, he was really sad on that day. The Nigerian walks in, sees the guy looking sad, and he asks him, "Hey, what happened?" And he's like, "Hey, my dog died." And what did the Nigerians say? The Nigerian was like, "Hey, and this is something that we would say in Nigeria. It's not culturally taboo to say, like, now dog die, they cry like this. Waiting will happen if your mama die." Now, a lot of places in Nigeria, you could say that and get away with it. But for that, that was a total misunderstanding in that particular workplace of American culture. These are people who call their pets, they even call them children. All right. Within 3 months, they found a reason to fire him. So I've told those two stories to tell you how important it is to be somebody that is good to work with. It's not just, oh, you have the skills and you are very, what's the word, competent at what you do. So vibes and culture is important. Now, I've told you all the things that you should, let me go back to this. Now, these are the reasons why, simply put, anybody will want you on their team, or anybody will want to hire you to work with them. That you contribute to revenue, or you contribute to their brand, or you help them, you help their costs be more efficient, or you help their process be more efficient, or you contribute to their growth, or they like to have you around. So it could be any one of these things. It could be all of them. It could be some of them. But these things matter a lot in why people would want you on their team. I will share one more data point with you on vibes and culture. One of the things that we did a survey of American employers, an internal survey. One of the number one reasons why American employers said that they would hesitate to hire somebody from Nigeria is they don't know whether the Nigerians will fit into their culture, whether they will be able to blend. All right. Now, I've talked about these 6 things. What are the things that you will need to do to be able to hit 1, 2, 3, or all of these points to increase your business value quotient? 1, you need to be able to communicate. 2, you need to have project management skills, and I'll get into this a bit more. 3, you need to understand marketing and sales and be able to do it to a competent level. 4, your resume writing and interviewing skills must be good. 5, you must know basic data analysis. I will explain all these things as we go on. Number 6, know how to use artificial intelligence. Number 7, Googleability. Now, let's start with communication skills. Communication skills, you need to be able to read, write, and speak at a high level. You have to know how to do this. You need to be able to use communication frameworks within a business to be able to communicate in a clear, concise, and compelling way. You also need to be an active listener. That means when you are in the room and you are speaking with people, or people are speaking to you, you are soaking in everything that is being said, and that affects what you now say in how it's effective. You are taking on board information. And finally, you must be culturally aware. You must understand the culture of the people that you are working with and be able to work with them closely on that. Then, project management, simply put, you have to increase your ability to get things done, to take something from point A to point B. And project management allows you to do that. Some people are professional project managers, and that's good for them. I happen to believe, and from what I have seen, I think everybody needs to have project management skills, just as everybody needs to know how to read and write in English. It's basic. Your ability to be able to plan, execute, and then analyze the outcome, and then use that data to improve the process. Then you have to be able to, everybody needs to be able to sell. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, I don't sell things. I don't know how to sell things. I'm not a marketer," and so on. You need to know how to sell things. And one of the things that people tend to make a mistake, they think that whenever we talk about sales or we talk about marketing, people tend to think about it like a snake oil salesman, like, the person who is trying to make you buy perfume when you're walking through one of the malls in Abuja. No. Here's what marketing and sales is you being able to understand your customers' pain points and then tell them how your skill, your product, or your service solves that problem. That is what marketing and sales is. Then we talk about resume and interviews, your ability to capture your value on paper and in person. All right? Your ability to tell stories about your experience in a way that the people who want to hire you will now believe you can do it again. One of the things I'll tell you about interviews, very good interviews are largely just storytelling. Have 8 fantastic stories about work that you've done, and it will be able to answer almost any question that you are asked in an interview. And then finally, I've said this before, you have to deliver this in a confident and dynamic way. You cannot be a shrinking violet. Be sure about your quality, be able to communicate it with confidence during interviews. Now, we'll look at the final 3. Data literacy. Everybody needs to be able to read and understand data. You should be able to clean and manipulate data. And from all that, you should be able to get insights so that you make data-driven decisions. Everybody can have an opinion. Opinions are cheap, and everybody has one. But the people who are able to use data to drive their own opinions will quickly rise to the top in any organization, anywhere. The same interview I was talking about where a founder in New Jersey was talking to a Nigerian UI UX designer, the guy who ended up getting the job. What he did that was so brilliant was that he was actually, when he was explaining to the guy, to the founder, how he would build his landing page, that's what you see immediately you come to his website. He talked about something called, is it the F, like how to track that there are software that allow you to track people's eyes when they look at a website. So I think there's an F pattern, and I've forgotten the second pattern. There are 2 different patterns. And he was talking about how he would incorporate that into the design of this guy's website. That was data-driven design decision-making. All right? And that will always make you rise to the top. So you need to have basic data literacy, be able to read and understand data, and be able to get insights that inform the way you do your work. All right? Then artificial intelligence. You have to be able to prompt engineer, talk to AI. You need to be able to integrate AI into the work that you do so that you are able to do more work. Now, everybody is saying AI is going to take people's jobs. I don't believe that. I don't think that's the case. Currently, AI still can't do end-to-end work. And what do I mean by end-to-end work? It can't start work and it can't finish it. You are the one that has to ask it to do something. And at the end, you have to check what it has done to make sure that it has done what you have done. So you have to be able to prompt, and then you have to be able to verify. And if you are able to do this at a high level, a lot of Nigerians, I have seen them use AI. And at this point, I can tell when somebody did not look at the results that AI gave them. I can tell. In fact, some of them is not really hard. You'll see them, they'll copy everything plus how AI said, and if there's anything more that you need me to do, please, they'll copy everything and give that to you as an answer. All right? Then, finally, Googleability. And what I just mean by that is that you need to have an online presence. you need to have an online presence. You need to be someone who is readily available to show that when anybody types in your name, they can find you and see the work you have done, see what you are about, see how you've contributed to the space. Also, any community that you join that with regards to your particular skill, make sure that you are a high contributor, 4-to-1. And what do I mean by 4-to-1? That means that you give 4 times for every time you take something from that community. Be that person. Finally, develop a point of view. Think if you are able to think about your vocation in a way that you actually have a point of view, and the fact that you are Nigerian tends to give us a very unique point of view. Develop a point of view, even if it's wrong. Okay, so I'll end here with a quote from everybody's favorite billionaire, Elon Musk. And he says, try to be as useful as possible. It may sound trite, but it's so hard to be useful. How useful have you been to your fellow human beings times how many people? So don't aspire to glory, aspire to work. And this was just 2 weeks ago that he shared this. So it's very timely. So I would encourage all of us, look, what you want to do is to be able to develop a set of skills that makes you as useful to as many people in as many ways, in as many places. And that is how you upskill and position yourself to play in the spaces of global work. So thank you very much.